Welcome to Decoding Superhuman. This show is a deep dive into obsessions with health, performance, and how to elevate the human experience. I explore the latest tools, science, and technology with experts in various fields of human optimization. This is your host, Boomer Anderson. Enjoy the journey. On the Decoding Superhuman podcast today, my guest is Juraj Kocar, CEO of Somavedic, which is a technology that I've experienced benefits from, and I just can't simply explain what it does. But before we get into Juraj, his story, and the episode, I want to give a shout out to another listener, K. Minkus, who says, real expert, gave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and he said, Boomer is really obsessed with the details of these topics, and his easy approach to explaining them and passion really draws me into his podcasts. If you are looking for a real expert on this material and an enjoyable person to learn it from, this is the place. K. Minkus, thank you so much for the review. And if it compels you and you're drawn to it, please head over to iTunes and leave a 5-star review when you have time. It means the world to me, and it definitely helps get the word out. But let's get back to our guest today. I alluded to it earlier, but my guest today is Juraj Kocar. Aside from being my Czech brother from another mother, Juraj is the CEO of Somavedic. And Somavedic is a device that I've had at home for a little while now. And when I plug it in, it gives me more energy in my office than I've ever had before. I can't explain how it works, and so I sought out the company, and Juraj was gracious enough with his time to come on the show and explain it. We talk about precious metals, precious stones, and how the Somavedic is able to project a field into your environment which protects against things like 5G and EMF. It helps structure water, and among certain doctors in the Czech Republic, it's been able to lower their patients' hypertension or blood pressure, which I find fascinating. Somavedic is currently undergoing double-blind trials to see its effectiveness, but again, it's something that I've plugged into my own home, and I know it does a world of benefit for me. The show notes for this one are decodingsuperhuman.com/Somavedic, but if you're grabbed by this episode to go out and get one, head on over to somavedic.com, use the code BOOMER. You're going to get 10% off one of these devices. And again, I have the Medic Green Ultra, and you can check one out for yourself. Better yet, they have a money-back guarantee, so it's pretty cool that you can try it out for free. The show notes again are at decodingsuperhuman.com/Somavedic, and enjoy my conversation with Juraj Kocar. Juraj, my friend, welcome. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, you sent me one of your devices, and I have to say, I reached out to you and was like, okay, I have to figure out how this thing works because so many people are raving about it. So many people are talking about it. And I just wanted to understand more. And I've had this plugged in, and it's been one of the more enjoyable experiences in my home office that I have. And I can't explain why. So I'm hoping we can uncover a little bit of that today.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to that.
But you have a very interesting background with the company in that I would love to hear just how you came to Somavedic, and actually maybe even before that, how Somavedic got started.
Sure, yeah. So Somavedic, the very first, let's say, prototype was produced in 2010. So it's not like a new device. But like the story goes way before that, when the founder, Ivan Rybyansky, the founder and inventor of Somavedic, was struggling quite a lot with his health, with his pancreas and some other organs. And like the medicine, traditional doctors, they just gave him pills and told him that, yeah, well, in a in 2 years you'll end up on a wheelchair. And so he was not satisfied with that and started to study Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine and precious stones and minerals. And later he was able basically to heal himself from whatever he was suffering with.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was helping other people with different health problems. And people started to approach him that they have problems with geopathic stress or geopathic zones. Those are like negative zones coming from below the earth. When, for example, there's like a flowing river below the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And he got the idea that he could put like whatever he learned into a device. So he put together different precious stones and minerals and metals together, and to basically mitigate the negative effects of geopathic zones.
Mm-hmm.
So even the first prototype that he put together worked. So this was in 2010, and since then he is upgrading them, and a bit later he basically, let's say, like added the EMF, then later EMF mitigation, then later water structuring. But all of this was quite a long process, and there's like every product you have R&D behind it. So
mm-hmm.
This was similar case. So it's not just that you just put together some precious stones and minerals and voila, like you've got a great product, because otherwise like everybody that has loves precious stones and minerals and have them at their place, they would be like protected. But this is not exactly how it works. So we came to that. Basically, this explains how like Somavedic was built and how it's different from other similar devices. So the main difference is that in its core, we call it heart, there are like physical precious stones and minerals, mm-hmm. and precious metals like platinum, palladium, copper, silver. And we are amplifying their frequencies and properties into environment.
Mm-hmm.
We are amplifying that with other energy amplifiers in like a natural form, like mm-hmm. that you can find in nature. So the Somavedic, even though you have to plug it into electricity, works even when it's not plugged in.
Interesting.
It has about like 50 to 60% efficacy when it's not plugged in, but it's still working.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this design, the device where inside are these stones and minerals, and we are amplifying them. And in this way, it is creating like a coherent field around the unit with a radius of up to 100 feet mm-hmm. into all directions, mm-hmm. up, down, left, right. So it's like a bubble, like a protective bubble around the unit. And when we are in this field, our cells, they basically don't negatively react to the like negative effects of EMF radiation mm-hmm. on a cellular level. Mm-hmm. So what Somavedic is doing, it's not blocking the EMF. The EMF is still there. If you would have like an EMF meter, it will be still there.
Yeah, because I take out my Gauss meter and that's still there, right? And
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the cells don't react to that. And mm-hmm. we do have third-party lab studies showing that we measured it like indirectly, like via biomarkers,
yeah,
like HRV, red blood cells, mm-hmm. Free radicals. So, and like these were showing, like from Germany, Austria, or Slovenia, or even Czech Republic from here, they were showing like positive effects on our biology.
Yeah, because one of the studies mentioned blood pressure as well, right? In terms of, and I think the conclusion of the study was like, hey, this is improving blood pressure in people, but it needs to be further studied. Did I have that right?
Yes, exactly. This is the most recent study, mm-hmm. and there's very it's going on right now, like a official clinical trial, like a double-blinded study.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there's like an interesting story how we get there, because two medical doctors bought the Somavedic because they heard great of things about it. So they bought it for their homes, and their wives like felt it right away. I mean, they slept better. Their headaches were gone, because lots of times, especially with women, they get rid of headaches. I mean, they just are far like less. And at the same time, they started to observe that their flowers, they're growing faster and are blooming longer. So the doctor said, like, well, we have these flowers that are growing faster, so there's definitely something going on in the area, in its space. So we have to find out how to measure it. So they approached us. They approached us if they can do a small test with 10 people, and as they are working at the Balneology Institute, which is something like a spa where you treated with mud, like a healing mud. So that's balneology. So they took 10 people, like elderly people, and they were measuring blood pressure twice a day, and their mood. Like they had standardized tests on how they felt. And this test was going on for 4 weeks. At the end of the day, end of the month, they basically found out that with 7 out of 10 people, the blood pressure was lower than the first week as they were measuring it, which they were quite amazed by that. We were as well, because the Somavedic was not designed to lower blood pressure, and there was no other change in drugs, in lifestyle, whatever.
So interesting. And I know you're doing a double-blind study, so I assume that the N now is much bigger than 7 people. So hopefully, when that comes out, it'll be a little bit more supportive. That's awesome.
Yes, exactly. So they've done this small 10 people study, and they were amazed by the results. We were as well. And what they said, what surprised them even more, was the psychological state of the patients.
Yeah.
That improved even more. Like they just felt better. They were more smiling, more optimistic. And so then they decided, okay, we've done a small study with 10 people.
Okay, so I think you cut off just a little bit there, but as I understand it, you're going through a double-blind study right now. Do you know the size of the population that you're sampling right now for that double-blind study?
I think it's about 55 people.
Okay, so the N is much more significant. Is it both male and female, or is it just more?
Yes. Okay. Both male and female. Yes. Okay. So yes, this is something that we are really excited about, because they said that once it will pass, which the first test showed that there's a good chance that it will. They will apply. They will actually file a Somavedic to be as an official.
A medical device, right?
A medical device. Yes, yeah. Exactly. I was looking for the word, like a medical device, which is far beyond we could imagine years ago, when you have, let's say, an EMF mitigation device that would be like a medical device.
So, Juraj, I just want to back you up a little bit here because, one, I want to hear, let's start with how you became involved with the company, because I understand the founder had his own issues with pancreas, which I love that story. How did you originally get involved?
Yes, so there's story to that as well, and it was more than 3 years ago where I was basically again, because during my childhood I was fascinated with Egypt and pyramids and like planets and whatever. So I was reading interesting stuff, and then later I was studying what the pyramids can do when you put water in it or fruit or whatever, that they last for much longer. So I wanted to experiment with it, and I was looking for a pyramid for my home where I could just sit in and just test that out. And I realized that a friend of mine was selling them. So I visited him, and when I got there, all over his living room there were Somavedics, these lights. I didn't know at that time what they were, but they looked very nice. So we had a discussion about the pyramids, etc. But then I asked what is that? What's on your table? Because he had the Somavedic there, and on top of that there was a jug of water. So he gave me that water, and it was very smooth and silky water. So we started to talking about that, and he basically told me amazing stories of customers that were experiencing Somavedics, and some were really funny, some were basically lifesavers. So I took one Somavedic home. And and the interesting part is, which I'm still learning with customers and on finding out, that the Somavedic, it might sound strange, but it really basically reacts to the owner in a way too.
Yeah.
Because I was there surrounded, 20 Somavedics, and I got home, turned basically on mine, and my jaw started buzzing and my head started spinning. I was a bit a drunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like something you'd do in Prague on a Friday late night, but it's just
yeah, exactly. So this went on for about 2 to 3 hours, and even my girlfriend, she felt something on her chest going on. But then it just went away. And for me, it was interesting to observe, because when there was one Somavedic, and I could physically feel that something was going on when I turned it on. But day before, I was surrounded with 20, and there was nothing going on. And just recently, I was yesterday talking with a customer that has very similar experience. So I had a Somavedic at home. I was working for a different company, and then I brought it to my office. So, and when you go to work to the same place, the exact levels of energies you have when you leaving the work, and you're not thinking about it. So I brought Somavedic to the office, and when I was leaving that day, I felt like a huge amount of energy. When you would, wake up in the morning. So it was the same levels around 4 or 5 afternoon. And that was a huge surprise for me, because all of a sudden I could compare how I was feeling year before that, and now when I brought Somavedic to the office. So when you are actually going home from office and feeling great, so there was a huge difference, even much stronger experience when I brought the Somavedic home for the first time. So I was fascinated by this device. I gave few of them to my friends, and they had interesting reactions, some kind of they got detox symptoms.
Yeah, I want to just double click on detox symptoms, because this is interesting. And allow me to just open up here a little bit, because I felt when I plugged it in, it was like, okay, it felt lighter. I told you before the show that when I come into my office, it's for whatever reason, like my favorite spot in the house, whereas it used to be just kind of like another spot. And I feel a certain energy of it. But I also am wondering that detox symptoms, what those look like, because I'm almost certain in some ways I'm going through some of that too. What have some of those detox / Herxheimer reactions looked like from clients?
Yes, so usually it's there might be headaches.
Yeah.
Some people sleep worse for like first or 1 or 2 nights.
Mm-hmm.
Some they just have to like run 2 to like 3 times to toilet a day.
Yep.
Or there might be even like flu symptoms, but that's more rare. But this is just happening only to some people, but it is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So and the reason is that if a body is used to basically like live in a strong EMF or strongly polluted environment, and all of a sudden it has like abundant levels of energy, because like it's not affected by it. It's using the whole energy to clean itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fast that the body can't get rid of it fast enough. So you could get a headache, you have to run to toilet, or you have, let's say your sleep gets worse. Mm-hmm. But of course we have lots of testimonials of people that just even biohackers, and they have their own measurements that they brought it home and turned it on, and they have the best sleep. Like 2 people told us like they slept for 10 hours.
Yeah, you and I were chatting about that when we originally.
So it varies. It's different with everybody.
Of course. And I would note that I do feel, past couple of weeks I've had a pretty busy couple of weeks, right? Like did a TED Talk, helped launch a supplement, etc. And then like for whatever reason I just feel calm about it. And I can't explain it. And the only thing different in my house is this device.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me.
Yeah. As a, like last year, I spent last 3 months in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. in co-working space. I was sitting in a co-working space. And I had like, of course, my Somavedic there because it was in the city center. So I had it there and I went to lunch. And as I got back, there was one guy sitting in front of me, like a developer. He was like programming something. And like immediately as I like got in, he asked me like, what is that? Like, what is this? Like, what is this green thing? And I said like, why are you asking? And he said, because I feel so calm around it. So great. And I started to laugh because basically, and I told him like, yeah, this is how you should feel. I mean, like this is how, like, this is its effects on you. And he was sitting there just for a few hours.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, this just is showing that some people don't feel it, like will never feel it, like mm-hmm. on like physical, even though it's working, it never stops. And some feel it right away. So
something you said earlier, I want to expand upon, which is the structure of the Somavedic itself. We'll come back to benefits because there's certain things I want to go into with EMF and water structuring. But sure. The structure of it is very fascinating to me. And I am not as well versed on precious stones. So you have precious stones sitting in the middle of it. And then you said there's natural substances to amplify the production of the waves, if you will.
Yeah.
Can we talk about what some of those precious stones are? I mean, we can give, for example, the Medic Green Ultra is the one that I have. Do you mind just going into a little bit of those? Short-term memory, verbal fluency, focus. All of those are of high value to me. And they certainly all go by the wayside when I fly from Amsterdam to California. That 8 or 9 hour time change is absolutely brutal. And if you need to perform right after getting off the plane, what do you turn to? For me, the answer is simple. I turn to blue cannatine, which is made by the group of amazing people over at Troscriptions, and you can head on over to troscriptions.com to get yours. It comes in a buccal troche format, and one of my favorite things is to go into Smurf mode as soon as I land. If you're wondering what Smurf mode is, well, one of the ingredients is methylene blue, and it helps dye your tongue blue. So it's very, very fun as well. Head over to troscriptions.com and you can get your blue cannatine today.
Well, we don't disclose like what precious stones. We disclose what precious metals we use.
Okay.
I've told that already.
Mm-hmm.
We don't disclose like the exact names.
Okay.
But there are about, in the Medigreen Ultra, in the bestseller, there are about like 19 precious stones.
Mm-hmm.
And we are there's like let's say an upgrade and fine tuning going on like once or twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, the Lover like Medic last year in December was upgraded. Then now it can handle like 5G. But what I would like to get back is that it's also like structuring water.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah.
Yes, and because some Somavedic models do that, some don't. We have 2 models that are doing it, and this was also it's like a contactless structuring. So you just put a jug of water next to it, and in about 15-20 minutes the water is structured.
Okay.
And so it tastes different.
So how close, just real quick, how close does the Somavedic need to be to the water filter? Because I showed you mine earlier where it's like right next to it. Does it need to be that close, or is it sort of just within the 30-meter radius?
We usually recommend to people have it right next to it.
Okay.
But we know that it is affecting basically we didn't measure the radius in terms of how far the structuring goes on. But we know that if the plants that are, I don't know, on a balcony or a different room are reacting to that, it's mainly because of that it's working with the water that's in the plants. So it is, let's say, like it could be like 30 feet, it could be 40 feet. We didn't do exact measurements.
Okay.
But ideally, we just recommend to put it just next to it within few feet, and yeah, that would be it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and let's go into some of the benefits of structured water, just high level, because people may be a little unfamiliar with that term. I know Gerald Pollack's work has come up on the show a few times, but just any sort of high level benefits that you experience with structured water?
Yes. So like the scientist that basically, like, I don't want to say started it, but went mostly into mainstream is Masaru Emoto, like a Japanese scientist, where he showed that your mind can influence like the structure of the water, the crystals of the water. So like a structured water means that when you freeze it and put it in a microscope, you can see a very nice, very precise geometry of the frozen water. It looks like a snowflake. And the non-structured water, or not structured water, is very like chaotic. And so structured water, of course, can be naturally found in flowing rivers. But other than that, you don't have it, like we don't have like access to that. Whether it's tap water or a plastic like bottled water, it's not structured. And why it is important to drink structured water is that in our cells there is only structured water. So when you drink directly like structured water, your body gets much better hydration, and also vitamin and mineral absorption is improved. And to give you an example, so why we think that women usually get rid of headaches is because of the water, because of the hydration. Because a friend of mine from San Diego, she told me that she used to drink like a gallon of water a day, and she was still thirsty and still she got headaches. And since she got Somavedic, like the headaches are gone, and she said she's drinking half of that.
Yeah, like I note that too. It's just very interesting. Like I'm not needing to drink nearly as much water throughout the day, which is fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. So this shows that it's much more bioavailable, like the water. It's more, just the body gets just much better hydration. This way it has like indirect effect, let's say on headaches or whatever, like on all organs basically. Okay. Let's go back to EMF and just kind of like how that worked, because it doesn't necessarily, if I take out my Gauss meter, it doesn't necessarily affect the levels. How would you explain this to somebody who's saying, like, in a 5G world, I want to protect myself, but hey, the Gauss meter or, your RF meter, whatever you're using, is still showing numbers. How do we kind of get comfortable with that as consumers? Yeah, that's a great question. So, as I mentioned before, like the Somavedic is creating its basically own field, and I'll give you an example of like a doctor, quite famous doctor here in Czech Republic that was quite like a non-believer in Somavedic.
Yeah,
and we gave him like a free radical test strips that, like, some of them you can buy on Amazon, and you can do like your home test with your urine. This is like quite a new thing. It was not available like until last year. So we gave him this free radical test strips, and they're like, the levels are from 0 to 4, which 4 is the highest. And he's done the measurements, and he was almost at the maximum, and he got like quite scared because, of course, he knows what free radicals are doing. Yeah. And we gave him like a Somavedic, and after 2 days he's done the measurements again, and with basically like the effects were that the free radicals got normalized, like into normal levels. And he done the test again and again, and they were like normal, and which he couldn't basically believe, but like it was like he was doing the tests. And since then he's like a strong believer and supporter. But this is a very important thing, because there are like companies that are cooperating with let's say with athletes and NHL and NBA, and they are also like measuring free radical levels because they are causing oxidative stress. So when your free radical levels are on like a normal level, that means your body is okay and it's not affected, like the EMF is not having like a negative effect on your body.
Gotcha.
So this is like a indirect like measurement of that. Yes, you are in the field, like bathing like in the EMF soup, but your body like is still has it under control, and it has no effect on that. So this would be like one of the ways how we could like how I would go about it. Then there are bioresonance devices. They're mainly from Germany and from Russia, and they can measure the EMF levels in your body. And they can basically the bioresonance devices still are one of the few devices that can measure like the effects of Somavedic on your body, like directly, not only on the biomarkers, but directly.
Yeah.
So you can find them like all over the Europe, and in some states they are recognized as like official like diagnostic tool.
Mm-hmm.
So this way, this way you could measure that the Somavedic is working, that your body is okay, even though you are in the same environment in a city or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you going through this because it is very difficult to explain, right? And but at the same time, it is effective, or at least it feels effective to me. And I love what you're doing with the double-blind study, as well as, all of this stuff around bioresonance in order to help prove the efficacy. But you have quite a number of, if I go on your website, the case studies and testimonials appear to be quite large. Do you have any, do you have a quantity that is official in terms of the case studies that have come in so far?
Well, we've sold as of last month, we sold more than 30,000 like Somavedics all around the world.
Wow.
Yeah, mainly in Europe and Japan, because basically we started there. But yeah, since last year, we've set up a US branch where I'm the CEO of that, and we do we get lots of testimonials about plants, about pets, about children stop having nightmares. CEOs, like high-level CEOs in Amazon, they are saying I feel much better, much more productive. My brain fog is gone. So there are very different
wide
stories.
Range. Yeah,
very very wide range of stories that are going on. So yeah,
let's go into the different models, because I have the Medic Green Ultra, which I'm looking at the checklist. I'm like, I got everything I want in that. But the number of different models that you have a cobalt, you have a ruby red, you have one that's actually gold. And I would love to just take people through what the different models are and some of the various implications of those models. Yeah.
So there are basically two main differentiators, and it's if a Somavedic is structuring water or not. So there are two models, Atlantic and the Medic Green Ultra. Well, basically there are two standard models, because the premium models, the Amber and the Gold, they are structuring water as well. So when we are talking about the standard models, the essential, let's call them essential models. So then you have the water structuring, and then the other main differentiator is how much protection are they providing in terms of 4G, 5G, etc. So the Medic and the Medic Green Ultra and the models above that have 5G protection. The lower models, they don't have it. So the most affordable unit we have for 5G mitigation is the Medic for $605 dollars, and the bestseller, basically the Medic Green Ultra, that is for $850. Has, of course, 5G. It's even stronger than the Medic, but on top of that has the water structuring properties, which is very important feature for our bodies.
I love it. And can we talk about, so the ruby red and the cobalt are, they look gorgeous. I'm staring at them right now on the screen. Some of their effects, is that due to the precious stones that you use?
Yes, exactly. So as the founder, basically how he came up with the Somavedic in general, he decided to do two, let's say, models that are based on the Medic model there is like the ruby admixture
Mm-hmm.
or the cobalt admixture with different like specifics on what each of the precious stones are like providing.
Mm-hmm.
So one is for, I don't want to say for people that have, it basically calms you more. So the cobalt is for like calming you down.
Yeah.
And the ruby is more of a for your heart chakra to anywhere like to open up or whatever. But these are like a supportive I would call them like supportive models. I would definitely like recommend the Medic or the Medic Green Ultra as we have tens and tens of like testimonials.
Awesome.
On top of these two, I mean, on top of the Medic Green Ultra, there are the premium models, Amber and Gold. So Amber was the first basically device that was able to mitigate the 5G. We introduced it last year. And in basically in all aspects, it's 4 times stronger than the Medic Green Ultra. So when you are really working, let's say, in a corporate environment, because like tens of computers and Wi-Fi's and whatever, it's ideal place to have there. Or in a clinic, or like if you know that like there's like a 5G like really close to you, then that would be the ideal model to go with.
Gotcha. Okay. This is amazing and fascinating to me. It's just so incredible. Wow. The parasites and viruses point, I would love to hear more about how that works, and sort of, because, you know, admittedly, I've had a parasite before where, you know, I've been traveling around the world and you get something, right? In terms of, is that just a result of the harmonization of the environment that the parasites and viruses just decide to leave? Or are you familiar with how that works?
Yes. It's not like a direct effect on the specific parasite.
Yeah, so it's not like shooting the parasite, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's more of that Somavedic is like helping the body to create an environment where they just don't last. So like the body just get rid of them. And this also could be measured on the bioresonance devices.
Yeah.
Like what kinds of parasites do you have, etc., etc. This could be like you can measure it before and after, and you will see for yourself.
So for instance, if I had XYZ bacteria, overgrowth, parasite, fungus, whatever, did it before and after, and in the middle through the Somavedic there, and had some sort of prolonged Herxheimer reaction to this, it could be as a result of just detoxification in my environment. Is that right?
Yeah, that could be. Of course, like I have to mention that like Somavedic is it's not like a one pill solution,
of course,
like for everything, because we have like really like amazing stories and I like to tell them. But then on the other hand, like there are huge expectations that people just bring it home, plug it in, and miracles will start happening.
Yeah.
And they forget that it's like a very subtle energy, and it's supposed to basically like mitigate the effects of EMF. But thanks to the like great stories, like they are expecting much more. So even though they don't feel anything, like they can be assured that it's working. So this has its pros and cons, of course, but we do offer like a 60-day money back guarantee.
Yeah.
So anybody that's hesitating, they can just try it out and see for themselves.
Perfect. You covered my next question, which is how do you handle the haters? Because it's a question that I've been getting more frequently, is just sort of how to prove it, right? Because the audience is hyper rational. And you do have quite a number of studies here, and it sounds like you're going through the double-blind stuff. But the 60-day money-back guarantee is definitely a way to help out. That's for sure.
Yes. In terms of studies, we want to do much more of them, especially in the US.
Okay.
Because we know we have something, and then that a clinical double-blinded study is going on, but we want to do even more of them on the free radicals.
Yeah.
On blood pressure, on or like lots of these things, because like the data that we have so far, they look great. We just want to have like really like official stamps that like it's working great. But when I get, so this is our goal. But when I get back to the, let's say, haters questions, there always will be like haters. Some people just don't believe it, and like, yeah, we'll hate it or whatever. But the only thing that we can do is show them the data that we have so far. We can show them testimonials, and we can tell them, there's like 60-day money back guarantee. But for some, that's not enough. But that's just fine. I mean, they are just not like our real customers. But in no way I'm forcing anybody to buy that. I just like, look, like this is what we have. This is like, here you have like the 60 days. You can try it or return it. It's definitely up to you.
Yeah. And look, I'll give you another testimonial right now, in the sense that I told you in the past couple of weeks, like things have been crazy. I've been in and out of the city. I've been doing this TED Talk. I've been involved in the launch of a supplement. Haven't been sleeping exactly the amount that I would like, but that's probably more due to exogenous events like these. But at the same time, I feel more relaxed than ever. And like I wake up and I'm just sort of like, that's nice. And it's quite pretty to look at too. And the only thing that's really changed within my physical environment is the Somavedic. So I can't put a finger on, like, I know my HRV is pretty consistent, if not higher than it normally is. I know that I feel better, but the only thing that's changed is that. And so, thank you for the device. It's been pretty fun to work with so far, and I look forward to seeing what comes in the future.
Yeah. Thank you for the testimonial. So it is what you are describing is quite common, that people that have it at home it makes them feel calmer and more relaxed. It's one of the, let's say, side effects of having a Somavedic at home. I also really do like to look at it, even though like lots of people from the biohacking like community like basically scared a bit of the blue light. But in absolutely majority of cases, like whoever has it at home feels better, sleeps better, even though like they are not like blue LEDs in eyes, they are like ultraviolet. But when I look at a Somavedic, I like, it's something, it makes me feel like I would look into fire, like it's this very similar feeling that calms you down. So the green light has similar calming effect on me.
Interesting. Juraj, this has been an absolute blast, and I appreciate you educating us on the device. I want to just transition into some final 3 questions, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
The first question, and these are more personal kind of rapid fire questions. What book has had the most significant impact on the way you think about life?
On the way I think about life? Wow. Well, now you got me. I have to really think hard, because like last years, I'm just like reading, like more of a self-development and business books, but like on a life in general,
We can come back to that one. I can ask the next one first.
Okay.
Top trick for enhancing your focus.
For enhancing my focus. To do basically breaks. It works for me, like to work on let's say 30 minutes cycles, and then just rest for a few minutes, and then go again. And at the same time, I know it might sound contradictive, but it's improving my productivity when I'm like delaying like gratification. Like open like Instagram, or I don't know, like whatever online magazine. So when you have that on the table and you can see like delay your gratification, so you do the next thing, and then like you feel more productive you are. And yeah, so you have to just find a balance between this, and this is what worked for me. Awesome.
I guess the other question that I always ask people is, where can we find out more about you? But before we do that, I want to hear the book. I'm not letting you off the hook, man.
I'll tell you the name of the book, but I was not able to think of basically the book that you are asking for, but I have this book that's sitting right next to me, and this is the book that helped me a lot in terms of, because as a CEO, like your life is about like running a company,
of course.
So this book, the Great CEO Within, is the book.
Okay.
Yes, it's but by Matt Mochary.
Yep.
Yeah, Great CEO Within is the book that helped me tremendously in last weeks.
Awesome, my friend. Well, Juraj, where can people find out more about you, the company, purchase a device, etc.?
Yes. So basically all the info that we were talking about, they can find it on our webpage, somavedic.com. All the testimonials, they can order the products there. They can find the studies. And where they can meet us in person is at the end of March at the Upgrade Lab conference in LA, and end of April at the Paleolithics.
Awesome. Guys, listening to this, the show notes for this one are going to be at decodingsuperhuman.com/Somavedic. Juraj, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. I'm going to be at both of those conferences, provided that everything goes well with travel and everything. But I'll be at both those conferences. I hope that you and I can grab a coffee together. If not, I'm coming to Prague to visit you, because you're not getting off that easy. This thing is pretty awesome. So I look forward to continuing the conversation, and thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, love to hear that. And thank you, Burma, for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. To all the superhumans listening, have an absolutely epic day. All right, guys. So the precious stones, precious metals, applications for health is not a world that I've delved into until this interview. And in fact, it just makes me more curious about what is possible with these precious metals and precious stones. If you want to check out the show notes for this one, it's at decodingsuperhuman.com/Somavedic, and there we'll link to everything you need to get your discount on the device. But if you enjoyed this episode, please take to the social medias and give a little uproar for Juraj and team in a good way. Share a quote that you enjoyed, share something you learned on the episode, or head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star rating on the podcast. Again, the show notes for this one are at decodingsuperhuman.com/Somavedic. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have an epic day. Remember, choose health.